Hello sailors, wannabe sailors, and boat project enthusiasts. Welcome to my boat project. My name is Glenn Johnson and I am refitting a 1971 21-foot Aquarius. It's a trailer sailor. It has a swing keel, a big piece of steel that's 4 foot long by 2 feet. And I recently purchased it this last summer with the intent of sailing her and adventuring around and going places and seeing things and camping out and sleeping in her and just basically using it for what it's meant for. Let me give you a little bit of the backstory. In the summer of 2020, in the thick of the pandemic, my family and I went to a lake and we were kayaking around, and it was a particularly windy day, and I tried to make my kayak into a sailboat. So I put my jacket, my windbreaker through the paddle, and I was holding it up, and I'm doing my best, whatever I can do to try to catch the wind, and it was surprising. It really wasn't working. The boat itself and my body was a better sail than the sail I put up. And so I'm thinking about what I needed to do to make this kayak into a sailboat. And I can put a mast up in the middle and get some guy wires, and it has to be bigger and all that. And then I start thinking, yeah, I could do all that, and that might be a fun little project, but it's never going to turn out to be a very good sailboat. So why not just buy one of those little sailboats like a Lightning or something? I have some experience in them from childhood and my early 20s, so I'll bet I can still sail. It's like a bike, right? Once you learn, you never fully forget. So as soon as we got home from our weekend, I looked on Craigslist. I saw exactly what I was looking for, a beat-up, neglected boat for about $500. She was a Banshee made in mid-70s, and I brought her home and commenced to restoring her. The trailer was bent and broken, so that had to be fixed. My dad helped with that. I stripped her all down, got all the rust off, repainted it, got new bearings, etc. So then I turned my attention onto the boat. It had some old repairs that I didn't like the looks of. It had some damage that needed some work, and it had some structural improvements that I did on it, as well as painting, of course. Then I took her out to the water, and though I had fun, and it was what I wanted at the time, I knew it wasn't what I wanted long term. So I started looking for a medium-sized boat, a day cruiser, a day sailor, but all the while I knew that it was only going to be my second boat and that I would always have my eye on a bigger one with a cabin. So when this Aquarius came on the market, I decided to take a look at it, and when he offered me a deal, I decided to jump on it. Well, let me give you a tour of the boat. This is the galley, and here is some video I took when I first brought the boat home and started tearing her apart. Just kind of, actually the whole plan was to clean her and take all the stuff out. And as I did that, literally the furniture is breaking apart in my hand. I first thought it was fire because it's black, but there really is no sign of smoke or carbon up there. I mean, it's dirty. But it didn't smell like fire either. There's rusty nails in there. You can see that there's water damage in the wood. So I guess it's just wood rot, black mold gone wild. I don't know. Not every piece of furniture was totally trashed. This was not too bad, but it had enough damage that I didn't want to try to repair it. It really would have been just a bad idea and all. You can see the lazarette in the back there. That's the trunk, essentially. And there's the underneath of the galley of the sink. And it's funny, that black hose right there, it's a bicycle tube. And they used it to drain the sink into a tub. Yeah, it's pretty thin. At first I saw that, I'm like, boy, that's pretty janky, but it works well. It's light, it's cheap, probably free, and it's very flexible. So it would rot after a while, but not a big deal. We can see there was standing water in there for quite a while. On the right-hand side, that's where the keel is housed, so that's the keel housing. Right in the middle, I want to show you this wood up close and how brittle it is. I just grab it with my hand and it falls right off. And that's how I discovered this in the first place. As I was taking things out of the boat and cleaning it, I found that the wood was falling apart. Now there's areas that look like mold, some white stuff here and there, but mostly it's just this burnt looking stuff. I mean, if it's black mold, it sure is disguised well to look like ash. But really, it's so crumbly. It's amazing how brittle this wood is. Not even close to as strong as let's say a popsicle stick. You know, look at this wood. Doesn't it look burned? I've seen lots of burned wood before in my life, and it really looks a lot like that. But there's no other characteristics of fire to me. All right. I just got smart. Started banging my head on the top here, especially when I was trying to come out, and then hitting the mast as well. So I took the top off. It comes right off. There it is. And now there's more light, and I can walk around. I can stand up now. Much better. This to clean up, and just a little bit more to remove. Then I get to start vacuuming and pressure washing. I don't think I'm going to take this out. It's in pretty good shape. Not pretty, not pristine, but fair. I will very likely change my mind, especially if I look under there. That might be yucky. That's the head. I think a bucket sits in that. And I think there's a little bit of rotten wood underneath, but I can only get to a little bit right there. Just reach in here. This piece was kind of rotten. So, not horrible, but I don't think I'm going to do it tonight anyways. Everything that can be removed has been removed. Remember the kitchen counter, sink? Took the V-berth out. And of course the quarter berths. This is the top of the keel pocket. It looks to be in pretty good shape from this end. It's just really rusty down at the bottom. It doesn't swing freely. It looks like it has leprosy. It's really amazing. The big, thick chunks, like 1/4 inch thick chunks of rust. And here we see a photo of a top-down view of the lazaret. You can see the underside of the hatch is black and the inside is all black. And there was some wood back there that was oil-soaked. It smelled like a machine shop. And the problem with that is it goes right through into the cabin. And I'm going to have to wall that off because that was a mess. And I still haven't cleaned it all out. But it was quite the mess. The oil and the gas for that 2-stroke motor were kept in there. So that's going to be a project when I do the inside, is to wall that off from the rest of the inside of the boat. And when I finally had everything all cleaned out and cleaned up, she looked pretty good, like she's ready for some preparation for furniture. But of course, there's a lot of work to do in more important areas like the keel. But I did take her out for a sail just to see what she could do, see what the sails looked like. And they are pretty old and stretched out, so they need some work. But we had a lot of fun. My son fell asleep on the bow, and he told me it was the best nap of his life. Here's a picture of him right there. Thanks for watching my boat project, Aquarius. I'll keep you posted every step of the way.